What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video. How's everyone doing? And welcome back to another episode of the Malik Show. I hope you guys are having a great week. I know I am. And honestly, though, I just want to say, man, big shout out to everyone that's been supporting me so far. I really, really appreciate it. I know in the last couple of days, we've jumped from 185 to over 250 subscribers. So appreciate all the new people that are subscribing. I really do appreciate it, as this is a new endeavor for me, and I am excited because as when the football season comes along, I'm going to be at every game. So we'll have some tailgate content, we'll have some box content, we'll have some shots, some parties, everything's like that. So super excited for that. But to get started, the first thing that we're going to talk about is a guy whose name has very much been popping up in a lot of my timelines, and I feel like it's time to really start talking about him. So this first guy is Joe Milton. He was the Manning Passing Academy. This guy has a tremendous arm. I think one thing that he's really understanding is that talent only gets you so far. I think that with him spending time with Peyton, which is what he talked about. When I'm around Peyton, I ask him his approach to the game. To get to understand how he thinks. A lot of people think, oh, if you can throw far and you're tall, that'll get you to college. Yes, it'll get you into college, but it won't get you to start. It won't get you to be successful. It won't get you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. It's how you lead. It's how you process the game. It's how you think of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest side that for me personally, if Joe Milton can figure that out, the tangible parts, the part about size, effort, energy, the ability to throw, accuracy, arm strength. He has every last bit of that. But sometimes it's going to be, being that like savvy vet and making a play and understanding, where the weaknesses in every coverage is. So to me, I think that, Joe Milton is definitely on the right track. And I think he's going to have a really, really good year this year for Tennessee. And kind of one thing that I also see in a lot of young guys, especially a lot of the quarterbacks that I have, is that everyone wants to throw it far. And I tell kids, if you get the ball out early, your 40-yard throw, the guy can be running full speed in stride and catch it at 40 yards. But what a lot of people want to do is they want to get back, they want to hitch, and they want to show off their arm, and sometimes it's underthrown. So to me, I definitely love the fact that, obviously Joe has a huge physical ability, but you can tell that he's taking his time. He's doing his due diligence to understand the mental part of the game, to understand, how can I put my team in the best situation? Hey, how can I consistently show off my arm, which he's going to have plays where, he's throwing 60, 70-yard bombs and they're going to be running by people. So again, I'm super excited. If Joe can really figure out, his approach and, what works best for him, I think that this guy is going to be absolutely electric this year in the SEC. So next, we're going to go over, some stuff that, Ryan Day talked about. I know it's kind of hard to see. Sorry about that. But it says, he's talking about the quarterback position. Obviously, it's two really, really good quarterbacks. At the bottom, it says, we need consistent play. We need smart play. We need to take care of the football, play well on third down, execute well in the red zone, lead the team. None of this was about, we need a guy that's 6'4", we need a guy that throws 80 yards, we need a guy that's fast. All of this is talking about execution, doing your job, doing the right thing, playing smart football. I think a lot of people, and even me when I was growing up, I didn't really understand that. I thought the quarterback, was the playmaker. You had to go in, make plays, especially because it was funny. Me and Brad Kai used to make fun of the SEC. USC scores 10-14, 7-9. And it was like, dude, like they have no playmakers. The quarterbacks aren't making plays. They're just managers. That was one thing that, for a while, I was always like, we got to make the plays. We got to put up points. We got to score. And, after a while, I realized if you have good talent around you, especially at the quarterback position, it's like playing point guard. Dish it off here, let him hit a three. Pass it down low, let him dunk it. So that's like the biggest thing that I think Ryan Day, really wants from his quarterback, saying, hey, listen, guys, I know you guys are talented. I know you guys, can make every play. But at the end of the day, I need a guy that's consistent. I need a guy that makes plays when I need them. I need guys that make clutch plays. So third down and red zone, when I'm trying to extend the drive and when I'm trying to, score. And in the team, lead by the right example. I tell a lot of my young quarterbacks, no hands on the hips, no hands on your heads, no hands on your knees, no bending over. Lead by example. Like, don't let your physical body dictate how you mentally approach the game. There's gonna be times where you run and you're tired, and you can't let that be shown. And so I think that's really what Ryan Day wants, is like a legitimate leader. I don't think that, ability is anything that Ohio State lacks. I think they're looking for someone that can finally, lead Ohio State back to a national championship. So it'll be very interesting to see who they go with, as they do have a bunch of talented young quarterbacks. So now we're going to talk about Mac Brown and the recruiting process that he's been dealing with. So a lot of you know that Drake May was kind of on the edge about staying at North Carolina and not staying at North Carolina. For all the Miami fans, we kind of felt the same kind of ordeal with TVD. Talking about, is he going to stay with us? Is he going to go to Alabama? These are some of the big points that at least I took. There was two, and there was one that I would love for the NCAA themselves to implement. So number one, you need people that want to be at the university, where they're getting paid 5,000, 10,000, 100,000. They're happy to be at Miami, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, wherever they're at. They legitimately just want to be there. Secondly, and what he really talked about was like one of the biggest aspects is not even the kids, it's the agent. The agents are the one that are doing the deals. If you walk up to a kid and say, hey man, you can stay here and make $30,000 or 40K, but I got these boosters out in Oklahoma that want to offer you both $100,000, which is a 200K deal, which is 5 times what you're making here. Now you can take care of yourself, your mom, you buy your car. Like, it becomes really hard when these agents start to do, I don't want to say deal behind the kid's back, but the agents are out there searching for deals. Like that's how they keep these kids. That's how they keep the kids happy, is by, getting the kids paid. So, I think the agents are a big part of also, some of the rumors about transferring, because you'll see them contact other people trying to get deals for the kid just to see if there's any interest. And then, rumors go through the water from there. And I think one that will be really, really big for at least myself and not really me, but I think the last one is going to be the biggest one that the NCAA should implement. And it's really putting a cap. And when I mean cap, how much that their actual bank account can hold per year. And I don't think there's a kid or a parent or anyone out there that say, yes, my 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid should be holding over $2 million in his bank account per year. And I mean, maybe there are some kids that are responsible enough to do it, but I would say, man, you cap it at 2 million, but you only say, hey, your bank account can only hold 2 million. So let's say he has a $5 million deal, 2 mil in the account. The other 3 million, he gets to pick whether he invests into real estate, whether it's a 401k, whether it's a mutual fund, whether it's stocks and bonds, whether it's anything, man. I bet you if you talk to a lot of the people on the NCAA board, I bet you they have mutual funds. I bet you they have 401ks. I bet you they have all these, like extra little incentives and extra little things that, they've invested their money in over time so that money works for them. But yet they don't want to implement that same kind of rule and mindset for student athletes that have no idea how money works, who have no idea what they're in there, what like a real job is. And so to me, it's that part of the NCAA actually protecting these kids for the long haul and say, hey, man, listen, I know this sucks now, but when you're 30, 40 years old, and you're maybe struggling, or, you do have a good job, and now here's an extra $1 million that just hit your account because you were patient, and you from 18 to 30 or 40, you sat there and you let all the money or a portion of your money from the NIL just, harbor and make money on itself. Like that to me is smart. That to me is you actually set these student athletes up for the future for success. I feel like a lot of times, or at least now, a lot of people are just bending and folding to people because like, oh, it's good now, and later it's not going to be for the best. And so I think this is a way to really, really set up kids that, are going to have a good college career, but might not ever play professionally. It sets them up for the future so that they have something to look forward to. So they can say, hey, man, I know that if I grind from now until third, not only will I have the money for my job, but I'll have, the 4 or 5 years money that I saved up from the NIL to now carry me over for the rest of my life. Or maybe it gets my kid into college, or maybe it pays for my whatever. Maybe I want to go to another school, get my master's, or, get my PhD. Now that, this NIL money that has been in my mutual fund is what pays for it. So to me, I think there's a lot of smarter ways that, one, we can cap it, but it's not really about capping where they can't make, if you have a Drake May that's making 5 million, 6 million, yes, 2 million in bank account, $3 to $4 million are going into stocks, mutual fund, bonds, whatever you want to pick. You let the kids pick, but you protect the kids. Don't just have thinking that just because these kids have agents and they're making some money, that these kids have any idea how money actually works, because most of them do not. So next, we're going to talk about Miami football. So I had to go into, but first, we're talking about a little Miami baseball. So one, congratulates JD. I'm a big fan of JD. I've heard some negativity. I know that there was some John Jay stuff floating in the air, but I'll say this: from someone that loves Miami baseball, loves the university itself, is someone that's a winner, someone that, does a great job with coaching and interacting and just being like a player's coach. JD is that guy. So I think he'll do a great job in recruiting. I think he'll do a great job of, getting guys to, attend the University of Miami. I think the biggest thing he has to figure out who's his hitting coach going to be. To me, I think that's the biggest part. Obviously when you score runs, you win. JD is a pitcher's coach, and obviously, I think we're going to have really good pitchers. Which, at the end of the day, I think that if you need one position or one coach to be really, really good, you'd want your bullpen / pitching to be really good. So I think from that standpoint, is a good hire. Just going to be super interesting to see who he hires as a hitting coach. I hope he hires someone that, for me, teaches short to long through. I know that Gino was a big, V swinger, down, backspin, create a lot of torque. And that works. But to me, I think the biggest thing is that most home runs to me should be a line drive that you get under, not you trying to create a line drive or backspin. So just different hitting philosophies. But congrats to JD. I really like him. I think he's going to do really, really well. I don't know if they're going to have this, amazing season next year, but I think if he gets the right hitting coach and, can keep some kids in South Florida, I think that, JD has at least a personality and the resume to turn around the University of Miami baseball team. So next, Miami fans, especially football guys, keep being positive on social media. I love the love that you guys are showing these high school kids. Not saying that, I've seen anything bad, then that's why I'm bringing this up. But I just want to say, man, I know that, we've had some really, really big recruiting weekends over the last couple of weeks. We've had 4-stars, we've had 5-stars, we have guys committed. And so I just see like all the love that the Canes fam is giving these guys. So I appreciate that. I know these kids love it. Keep it up, stay positive. Again, guys, this is a long game. Okay. So even during the season, if things don't go how we want, still stay positive. I know there's me guys about there, man, true that. I've been here for this many years, blah, blah, blah. Well, have you seen Mario's contract? It's a 10-year contract, which means that Miami is committed to this to the long haul. So if you got a multi-million-dollar company that you believe in, that you love, saying, hey, we understand this is a long game and we're here for it, don't you think we should be as well? And that's just my biggest mindset is that, the university didn't expect Mara to come in a year or two to turn around, which is why they didn't give him a 4 or 5-year contract. They gave him a 10-year contract. Okay. So I think that's the first thing that a lot of us need to understand. But again, I really do appreciate the positivity that, at least my timeline has had towards these student athletes. I know that, they've definitely felt the love as I felt the love for them through you guys. One of my big bold statements for the University of Miami is I think that by the end of the year, we will have, if they can stay healthy, we will have the best offensive line in the ACC, which is a huge, huge deal, especially talking about protecting a really good quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke. And you're talking about having, I think Don Chaney is going to bust out this year. The guy's big, he's agile. If we can keep him healthy with a really good offensive line, obviously him and Henry Parrish, and then we add, the new running back that's coming in. To me, I think we have a lot of weapons that, behind a good offensive line can be super, super explosive. And obviously you have Dawson that is a great play caller. So to me, if we can add this really, really the best offensive lineman in the ACC, I think our skill position in our OC, I think we'll be just fine. And the last one, this was stuff that I heard from Alonzo, is that there is no place better than Miami. It has the best weather, the best sports. Obviously, why Alabama, Georgia, and all of them come down here to recruit. We have the best athletes. Well, Miami has the best athletes. And lastly, the women. The women are beautiful. They're great. I will say that, guys, if you're down there, be careful. Obviously, sports come before that. Don't let women, control your life. But I will say this: if you find you an attractive, beautiful girl that, wants to help you and supports you, then obviously I think you should do that. So, I don't think there's a better place than Miami, especially if you have a girlfriend or anything like that. If you're like, hey, like I'm going to Miami, do you want to come with me? I don't know a girl that's going to say no, or even a mom that's like, nah, I don't want to go to Miami and be on the beach and have great weather and, get tan. So to me, Miami is the best spot for anybody. So next thing that we're going to go into is the NFL section, and it's going to be really quick, but there's some stuff that I want to see how you guys interact with me on this one. So to me, I think Detroit is going to win the division. I think with, Dalvin being out of Minnesota, I think that really hurts them. I don't like the Packers with Jordan Love. I think that he has a lot to prove. I know one of his teammates was comparing him to, Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not hearing that. Aaron Rodgers is a GOAT. He'd probably go down to the Hall of Fame, and I don't know if Jordan Love will, but he could. He could be that good. But for me personally, I don't see it. I didn't see it at Utah State. I didn't see it whenever the couple games that he played. I think the guy can throw it. I think he has a lot of talent, but I don't know if he has that clutch factor when, we need you, all eyes are on you. Can you come through and deliver? I don't know if he has that yet. It might take him a year or two to get that. The last one is Chicago. I think Chicago could be the number 2 team on the board. I like Justin Fields. I like, some of the receivers they added. I think that they have a chance. And I think a lot of obviously to do with Fields and, what they do offensively because they got to score, but they're at least going to have a good defense. But I still think Detroit will be the team to beat in that league. Obviously, golf, to me, I think probably the best. So we'll see. Next is the Dolphins or the Jets need Dalvin Cook. And I know a lot of people talking about, Bryce Hall with the Jets. Remember last year he got hurt. And I'll say this, man. You go back and look at the playoff games, even the Super Bowl. The team that has the most rushing yards usually wins. So run game super important, especially time playing for the long haul. You can't sit here and just think that because with the Jets we have Aaron Rodgers, or because with the Dolphins and we have Waddle and Tyreek Hill, that there's not going to be a team out there that can't just go rush 3, play 8, and try to beat you guys in like a zone coverage. So to me, I think it's going to be super interesting to see where Dalvin goes. I really hope it's either the Jets or the Dolphins. I think those are two offensive teams that they add him, they are legitimately Super Bowl contenders just by adding him, because he is such a dynamic weapon. The last one is for you guys to answer too, is who do you guys think is more impactful, DeAndre or Dalvin? To me personally, I think it's Dalvin. Again, I love run game. Whenever I'm a quarterback, especially if you're a young quarterback or even a quarterback that's having a struggle, maybe there's a team that has your number. If you know that, hey, I can hand this ball off and this guy's forehead might hit the roof. To me, I think that's really what you want. Obviously DeAndre is a very, very, safe call. He really, really helps. But if you already have a couple good receivers and you're someone like, the Jets, or you're someone like the Dolphins that, they're missing maybe one piece. And to me, I think it's a running back. To me, I think Dalvin and some of these teams is just a little bit more impactful than DeAndre Hopkins, just due to the fact that whether it's a young quarterback or it's, the ability to actually have a now super elite run game on top of your speed of your receivers. To me, I think there's a lot more impactful stuff that Dalvin just adds from a defensive coordinator's mindset and thought process and what he can and can't install from week to week. So lastly, what we're going to go over is questions of the week. So, I had two really good questions that I want to answer. So one of them said, what did Mark Richt say to you after I pumped up the crowd in 2017? And really nothing. He told me, good job, good throw, way to be smart. Honestly, I was kind of nervous because the instant replay took so long that honestly, I don't remember what he said. I mean, I remember him telling me good ball and, way to be smart. Because obviously the safety was straight to the field. We had Lawrence Cager. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, he just told me, hell of a ball, way to go in there and be clutch. Obviously, we did not want to leave it up to a field goal because the year prior to that, we had the field goal blocked at home. So, for me, it was I don't say all or nothing, but it's like, hey, I'm either scoring or, no one's going to catch it. So to me, that was more my thought process. Rick did more talking to me pre-throw than he did post-throw. Post-throw, everyone was like scrambling, trying to figure out what the call was. I was on a knee praying with some of my teammates. So it was it was definitely an emotional, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds after the play. So I don't really remember like what exactly he said to me, if I'm being honest. But the next question comes from, someone here in the office, Ryan Cook. We talk a lot about football. He is a Detroit fan. So I know Ryan will be super happy about, me saying Detroit's going to win the division. But he asked me, what does a quarterback want? A possession receiver like a DeAndre Hopkins, a speed receiver like Tyreek Hill, or a slot receiver, someone that is like Adam Thielen or something like that. To me personally, I really think it's about the type of offense you have. If I personally had to pick, I would pick possession. I think that with speed, it definitely helps if you're in the open grass. If you're trying to, run people off and get a tight end or something underneath. I just personally think the only problem with that is if you got a speed guy that technically doesn't have the best hands, it doesn't really matter, because then defenses aren't as scared. If I got someone that, hey, it's 3rd and 3 and I can throw a slant, hey, it's 3rd and 5 and I can throw a quick fade, something like that. To me, I think that's where, possession receivers to me have a little bit more, usefulness than speed. Obviously, if you can get a speed guy like Tyreek Hill that can take the top off and catch everything, then I think that, Tyreek is an exception to the rule. But for the most part, I know more speed guys that can't catch. So for me personally, if I had to round it off, I would do possession. Yeah, unless I had like a Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is the exception to the rule. Or, it's really hard though, to be honest with you, because like, who is a speed, who is a possession? Because to me, I think that like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, like they're a possession receiver, but they're fast. Like they're not 4.240 fast, but they're still fast enough to run 4.4s. And so that's kind of where it's like, I think some of these receivers nowadays have definitely changed the projection of the possession speed receiver, because there's guys that are 6'4" running like Megatron now. Look at DK Metcalf. Like DK Metcalf, what do you call him? Is he a possession or is he a speed? Because the guy's huge and he's rolling. So to me, I think that's very hard. So, I mean, I think nowadays for me, I would take someone that's more of a possession receiver, because there are more possession receivers that run 4.4 4.5s, then I would take like a 4.2 guy that, particularly can't catch as well. Slots are really good, but I think that if you got a good tight end, you can kind of get by with slots. And also, too, again, if you have a speed receiver, you can run the top off and then, have an average slot run underneath him and run routes underneath to get open. So to me, I think slots last. And I think for really speed and possession, talks about like what kind of receiver is a guy. Is he a speed that can't catch? Is he a possession that has some speed? I think that's kind of some nuances and different things that, you would have to, really figure out. So I definitely appreciate everyone for watching. Again, I hope you guys ask more questions. I appreciate everyone for listening. I'm going to try to drop another episode this weekend, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.